Hello everyone, this is Cari for Redesign, and today I'm going to make over this little end table. And now it doesn't look very good. It was previously painted and there was a lot of damage on the top, so don't come at me about the wood. I love the wood, but there's a lot of wood filling in gaps underneath some of those places. So yeah, I would have loved to have kept it, but unfortunately it was too damaged. So I sanded the top to remove any of the bumpy areas that I may have had. And now I'm painting the bottom with this gorgeous olive. It's called Burnt Olive by Granny Bees. It's from their Polka paint line, and I absolutely love the earthy tones. So this paint color was perfect for me. Now I go in and just kind of add it over the painted surface because I had sealed this table with a sealer that can take the paint. So it's from the same company. So I did not need to sand down the legs and all of that. You would maybe need to clean it off nicely with lacquer thinners or sugar soap or something before painting, but it was not necessary to remove any of the paint that was there because it was sealed. So this paint goes over the sealed areas just beautifully. And I do end up adding 2 coats of this color. Okay, now for the top. So because the wood is exposed and it's a wood that is known to bleed, I go ahead and seal everything before I get started painting. So I use a Granny Bees sealer called Armor, and I do about 2 coats of this sealer just to ensure that that wood is not going to bleed through. Plus it helps prevent any of that old painted finish that I've sanded coming through as well. It's just kind of a protective barrier for the lighter color that I'm going to paint the top with. And I'm super careful. I make sure I get in all the wood grains and you know, have nice even coats applied. Next, I'm going in with a light tan color called Beach Sand. So I really wanted the top of this table to be nice and light because I'm going to add some really fun elements, which you'll see in just a couple minutes. And again, with this beach sand, I had applied 2 coats after the 2 coats of sealer were dry. I let the sealer dry overnight to make sure that it was in the wood, everything was good. And I did put tape around the bottom because this edge is so curvy and it just helps me from getting any unwanted cream colored paint on my green colored paint underneath. So the tape is kind of like a protective barrier for that, just in case, because like I said, it's uneven. And this just ensures like a nice, you know, a nice even coat as well. And I don't have to worry too much about the edges. After just a couple hours, I go ahead and apply my second coat. Generally, the chalk paints dry within 15 minutes to an hour, but I wanted to make sure that that coat was nice and cured before I went ahead and added the second one, because the surface from the sealer is a little bit glossy. So I wanted to make sure that that didn't come off while I was adding the second coat on. And there it is with 2 coats. Looks pretty good. And I'm excited to get to the next part, which is adding my transfers and some gold leafing. But first, I am going to seal again. I like to seal before the transfers sometimes. You don't necessarily have to. You can go right onto chalk painted surface with our transfers. But for me, I just prefer to seal first and then add the transfer, and then I'll seal again. I know it sounds kind of silly, but sometimes, you know, I like to protect that surface just in case I burnish and, you know, it doesn't go on right and I have to remove. This is just kind of a precaution, but it's definitely not necessary. And you don't want to add any wax before adding the transfer because that adhesive sometimes does not stick to that oily surface. So just word to the wise. I have done it and had success, but it's really not good if you're just starting out because sometimes you can do a wax buildup and it just won't let the transfer stick nicely. Now I'm going in with Elegance and Flowers. This is one of our tube transfer sets. You can see there's six sheets. It's a very large set. Now, just words of the wise, these are on sale right now at an incredibly great deal. And unfortunately, when these are gone, they're gone because we are no longer doing the tubes anymore. We're doing flat packaging from now on. So make sure you grab these before they are gone and discontinued. And I'm kind of sad because I love this. I really love this transfer set. So now I'm just kind of choosing, I want to do flowers on the corners, on opposite corners. And what's great about the transfers is that you can just cut them out and choose what part of the transfer you want to use for your project. Now here you may be wondering why I'm going to cut off that little tiny sliver. There's a little bird head and feathers that connects to another part of this transfer. So I wanted to save that in case I want to use the bird and the branches and flowers on another project. See, there's this little head and tail feathers. So I did cut that out so that I can use it later on something else. You see there's the bird. Now I'm getting ready to apply the first part of my transfer. These are some flowers that I cut out. And I use a little bit of painter's tape just to keep my transfer in place while I'm burnishing. Because sometimes you have to burnish a little bit harder on certain surfaces and you don't want it to roll up on you or to move while you're doing this process. Now I also added painter's tape around the edge. Now there's a very good reason for this and I will show you why in just a minute. But you just go ahead and remove that protective backing and burnish with the stick that it comes with and just apply that beautiful image right onto your surface. It's really simple. And what we're also going to do is layer more images and flowers because I wanted to kind of build up and make my own bouquet for the top of this table. So I'm mixing and matching the flowers, and it also hides parts that maybe I had to cut off that are too straight. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't just go ahead and put the transfer over the edge or the lip of the table as is and put tape there instead. And there's a very good reason. It's because I'm going to add some gold leafing. And if I add the transfers first, they will show, like not through the gold, but there will be bumps, if that makes any sense. And I didn't really want that to show. I wanted a nice clean line. And now I'm using a polishing pad, which helps get rid of any wrinkles. Our polishing pad is also great for removing any halos too that you don't want. And see, that line is so nice. It's actually very satisfying to watch that part. But the polishing pad is wonderful for helping get some of those little wrinkles out if you have any, and making sure that those layers are nice and, placed down together. Now here I'm adding little flowers because there was a leaf that was like cut off. So that I got rid of that straight edge by adding just some little flowers to, kind of mask that. And you absolutely can layer these transfers. They're skin-like, they're so thin, so you can barely tell that they're layered, and they don't show through because our transfers are very opaque. To be honest, for me, this is like a really fun part of the process, is kind of building my own little bouquets, my own little layers, and my own unique design, which transfers allow you to do that. You could even mix and match different flowers from different transfer sets. It's absolutely going to work. And there again, the satisfying tape pull. But I love how these look. I love the bouquets that I've created. And I wanted to show you quickly, out of this whole set, out of all those flowers I used, look what I still have left over. Tons. And I used these on a project before. So you get a lot out of these tubes, I'm telling you. All right, next we're going to add the gold leafing. So you need gilding glue or sizing glue. That's a Finnabair gilding glue from Prima. We also have the Katja gilding glue as well. I just don't happen to have any, so I use the Finnabair gilding glue. Either one works beautifully, and I just simply apply it with my brush. This is my Finnabair art brush, which I love these brushes. I talk about them every video, but they clean so beautifully and they really glide all of your art mediums onto your surfaces like you wouldn't believe. So what you want to do is add the gilding glue and then leave it. Leave it for a few minutes because it needs to get tacky. So you can't I add the leafing right away. You need to let this glue just kind of rest and get tacky. It is kind of white and then it goes clear. That's how you know. And you can kind of touch it a little bit with your finger. You'll feel the tackiness. Now here is our Katja gold leaf sheets. Now they come in a pack of 25. They are imitation gold leaf. So this is a very affordable option for you if you want gold leafing, but you don't want to spend a ton of money. And I think for this entire table, I only used maybe 4 or 5 because I'm just doing the edge. So those 4 or 5 sheets I used really went a long way. And anything that you brush off later, you can reuse, you can reapply. So I save all the little bits. I know I'm crazy, but I saved all the little bits. So here again, I'm just applying that glue as close to the edge as possible. And I do like to wear gloves because that gilding glue is very, very sticky. And it's difficult to get off your hands once it starts getting tacky. And then all that gold leafing sticks to your fingers and it becomes a nightmare. So do yourself a favor and wear something like protective gloves. And here I'm just layering the gold sheets on very carefully. And I'm just lightly pressing with my fingers to make sure I get into all those little areas. It is trickier when you're going over a curved surface, but with a little bit of practice, you'll be a pro in no time, really. Now, I do not start brushing it off right away. You need to let that glue underneath rest and dry. So even though it's tacky and the gold leaf is sticking to it, you need to just kind of let it sit and don't touch it for a while. See, there it is. It's all done. I've gone around the whole thing. And I even did that little circle on the bottom, which I didn't show, but it's pretty much the same process as doing the edges. And now I go in with a really, really soft brush. This is my blending brush. I don't have like a soft makeup brush, but they say that that's the best thing to use. It gets all those little flakes and bits and pieces off really beautifully, but you want to use something really soft and not anything too bristly. And now I go ahead and seal again. Now I know I'm sealing like crazy, but this is a tabletop and it will see some action. And actually this is a little bit glamorous for my taste, but man, I can tell you, I had so much fun putting this together. It is really, really pretty. Even though it doesn't match anything in my house, I don't care. I just had so much fun doing this. Here's a close-up of the little area where I did add some transfers over the gold leaf. You could totally do that. And here's the top all sealed. Now, after I added the gold leafing, I did take a couple more little transfer flowers and have them drape over the side, which was really fun. That was a really fun effect. I love that. Now I'm adding some dark aging wax to the legs. So I had already sealed the legs with that same sealer I used for the top. And I feel very confident using the aging wax over that because I can still move that wax around and add as little or as much as I want. So you add the wax on and then you take a little bit of take a cloth and just wipe it back. And you can do this in layers depending on how dark you want it. And here she is, all ready to go. See those flowers draping over the side? I just love how this turned out. It's so pretty. Imagine doing this on larger tables, on chairs, cabinets, whatever you want. Everything I use will be in the description. And if you have any questions about what I used today or what I did, please feel free to ask. And if you have any suggestions about other videos you want to see or any techniques, please let us know. And then we can make some for the future. But thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and like. We really appreciate that as well. Have a great day, everyone, and happy creating.